now, you're tuned into RBLR, the home of Tampa Bay's RBLR Sports.
What is going on, RBLR Nation? You are tuning into the Rays version of the RBLR Sports shows. I am one of your hosts, Zach Blaine, and here with me is the one and only Mr. Ben Whitelaw. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, what's going on, Zach? How's it going?
Oh, it's going, brother. What rough week for Rays baseball, but better days are coming.
Yeah, it really sucks going 3-4 this week. Like, I feel everybody's like freaking out. They went 3-4. They won 3, they lost 4. They were very close to winning 2 of those 4. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too confused about all this negativity.
Our three wins were against the Pirates, though. that's kind of my issue.
The Pirates are terrible.
They're a very bad team, and I mean, what are we on a streak of? Up until I believe yesterday, we were on a streak of like 15 or 16 two or less run games. So we're staying in them, but we're also not being able to pull through them unless we're playing the Pirates.
Yeah, I think yesterday was probably the worst loss maybe of the season, just because like it was like a blowout, but all the other ones are like 2-3 runs. Like those could really go either way, so not too bad. I mean, they're not going the other way, which is unfortunate, but
but there's a chance.
Yeah, it's a couple bounces away from being different, so.
Yeah, well, before we get into all of the review of the games and everything, we've been doing our topics of the week basically, and I figure we'd start right off with your topic if you wanted to.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. The Rays called back up Javi Guerra. They had him earlier this season after they got him from the Padres. He's a converted shortstop who became a pitcher like a year and a half ago, and they put him in the Rays pitching lab down in Durham, and he's been really, really great. So a couple things about him, like in terms of like roster moves. So he has no options. So right now he's either going to stay up for good or he's going to be taken by another team if the Rays DFA him. Based on the improvements he's made in AAA, we got some really cool StatCast data, this past week on the things that he's been doing down there. I don't think they're going to get rid of him. He's got like really, really good stuff that's going to play at the major league level. And something that's encouraging is he hasn't been used in a game yet since being called up, which doesn't seem encouraging, but it actually is because they haven't used him in a game that they're chasing. So that suggests that they want to use him in a tighter game or a game with a lead, which really says a lot about, how the Rays view him because he's got some great stuff. So with his minor league stats this season, he's got 21 innings pitched in Durham. He's 3 for 3 in saves, which is really cool because they're kind of like grooming him into like a high leverage type of role. 32.1 strikeout rate, 8.3 walk rate, 0.86 whip, and a 2.21 FIP. So he's got a really good stat line down there in Durham. But over his last 8.2 innings pitched, he's actually like turned it up a bit. And he found some more velocity with his sinker, sharper slider, and I'll get into that stuff in a little bit. But in this past 8.2 innings pitched, he's 2 for 2 in saves, 44.1 strikeout rate, 2.9 walk rate, 0.46 whip, and a 1.07 FIP. So he is he's like the Clay Holmes of AAA baseball right now. Like he is virtually untouchable, and he's striking out like half the batters he faces. So he's going to come up and probably not strike out 40% of guys, but he'll likely settle in like, the 30, 33, 34% range. And if he keeps the walk rate under 6, which he's shown he can do consistently, he's going to be really dominant. And he's probably like the best kept secret, like in any bullpen in baseball. If anybody's listening, plays fantasy baseball, maybe consider picking him up because he's ready to go on a tear.
So you think that obviously his strikeout numbers are probably going to go down, but you think he's going to come up and kind of dominate in the show just as much as he was in AAA?
Absolutely. Like his stuff is going to play. We have a 12 pitch sample size from a game earlier this week when we got StatCast data, which is pretty cool that the Charlotte Knights or whatever the AAA team is, they have StatCast in their park, so we got some Durham numbers. We've seen really high exit velocities from Curtis Mead, which is really cool. But I'm mostly excited about Guerra because he developed a fastball. It's coming in at 99 miles an hour on average, with about 10 inches of rise, which would put him in like the 98th percentile in among major league pitchers. And it's got like 2,500 RPM, so it's like really spinny. It's in like the top 90th percentile in spin rate if he's pitching in the majors. So major league hitters are going to be better, but just being in the major leagues doesn't make your velocity drop and it doesn't make your spin or your rise drop. So like his stuff is going to do that and it's going to translate really well to the majors. He added about 2 more miles per hour to his sinker down in Durham. It's pretty much the same pitch, just faster now, which is cool. And his slider, it basically like doubled its break. So he's throwing a sharper, like east to west slider. It's not like a huge break, but it comes in at 90 miles an hour, 89, 90 miles an hour. So yeah, he's got the stuff to be really, really good. I found some player comparisons for his different like shapes and velocities on his pitches. His fastball is really similar to former Ray Ryan Stanek, and that was a really great pitch for him. For anybody that remembers him pitching for the Rays, Guerra's is just a bit faster. Albert Abreu, his sinker, he's a bullpen pitcher with the Yankees. He's got a really good sinker. Guerra's is basically the same thing. And then his slider is really similar to Yimi Garcia, the Blue Jays, who are probably going to see today because everybody's going to pitch. It's a doubleheader, so both
exactly
after today. But yeah, I'm so excited about this guy. Like he has electric stuff. The Rays are, making all these suggestions with their moves that like he's going to stay up for good and he's going to be in some big important roles in like maybe even today.
Yeah, so if he stays up for good, I mean, it sounds exciting the way that you're talking about him, but if he stays up for good, who are we sending down?
I think they already sent down someone. I forgot who it was. There were a ton of roster moves with Springs having his like medical emergency thing with his family. A couple of restricted list moves. So I forgot who exactly it was, but it's probably going to be like Garza because he has options, or Daniel Bard if he's up, or who, I don't know.
I know
it'll be somebody.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I know that we put Thompson, and I want to say the other one was Rayleigh.
Yeah, they're on the
I could be wrong on Rayleigh. They were on the restricted list for not being vaccinated and going to Toronto or something along those lines. But yeah, I mean, it sounds, the way that you're making it sound, I am genuinely excited. I know that I probably shouldn't admit this, but I'm not as in tune with the prospects as you are. So when you come on and are excited about a prospect, I get excited for sure.
I mean, it was just a matter of time before they called him up because that stuff is going to play at the major league level. Like his command is probably the only thing that might hold him back, but he's shown that he can, fill up the strike zone. And when it's in the zone, they're still not able to make contact. So it's going to play up. He's ready for a big role, and he's got like a really good like mechanical setup now. I really like what he's doing with his release point. Just everything is pointing in the right direction here.
Oh, good. I'm excited for it. I know we need him at this point, in all honesty.
I know. I wish he could hit though, because like the offense is what's kind of hurting us right now. And I know your topic this week kind of touches on some missing offense.
Yeah, well, we'll go ahead and get into it because you're exactly right. My topic this week is kind of the loss of Manuel Margot and how much that kind of affects the Rays hitters as a whole. So just to jump right into it, we lost Margot on 6/21. So June 21st, we lost Margot for what looks like it's going to be an extended period of time. I know he's on the 60-day IL right now. Hopefully he's good after that, but I haven't really seen an update. So for now, I'm just kind of waiting it out. But we lost a guy who has a 1.4 WAR, a 302 batting average with 21 runs and 27 RBIs. And I'm just going to list a few guys that we have replacing him in the outfield, and that is Vidal Brujan, Josh Lowe, and Harold Ramirez. Of those three, Ramirez is not a bad replacement when he plays. The problem is he doesn't play as much as Brujan and Lowe do right now. So Ramirez, like I said, being the best, he's got a 0.8 WAR with a 3.10 ERA. That's a relatively low sample size, but not too low, if that makes sense at all. Like I'm trying to explain it without sounding crazy. He's got 184 at-bats with 57 hits and 3 home runs. But he plays a lot of DH, so for him it's more of his fielding ability, in my opinion. That's not as on par with Margot.
Yeah.
And then jumping into Josh Lowe and Vidal Brujan, who've also replaced him in the outfield. Lowe has a negative 0.1 WAR with a 176 ERA, and Brujan has a negative 0.5 WAR with a 159 ERA.
Wait, ERA? Sorry.
Our ERA, Jesus, I did write down ERA. I meant batting average. Good Lord.
Okay. I was confused for a second. I'm like, Margot doesn't pitch. This is
yeah, no, none of them pitch.
Could,
Hey, Brett Phillips does it. Good Lord, excuse me for that, fans. But yeah, no, I meant batting average, but I did write down ERA in my little paper notes over here. I was thinking about your topic, I guess. But yeah, so those are our three guys that if you kind of the main two replacing him so far have been Brujan and Lowe, and since losing him, we've gone 3-5 and tied our worst losing streak of the season at 4. I know that doesn't sound really bad, but for the Rays, we don't do that. So
yeah,
it's kind of my thought is just we have no offensive production to cover Margot at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah, it really sucks losing him because I know he's like a leader in the clubhouse too with like him and KK are like the two guys because they've really just been around the longest.
Yeah.
I know Zanino's there too, but Zanino's also not there because of his shoulder. So it's just been a really unfortunate sequence of events. You know, you have 25, 26 guys on an active roster, and then we've had 17 players on that could be on the active roster. Like they've all had at least one IL stint this season.
Yeah.
Like 17 different guys out of 25. Like that's your whole team essentially. So yeah, injuries are killer right now, but there are a couple guys that are due back soon. I know Rasmussen should be activated today for the second game of the doubleheader.
Yep.
Patino should be back. He needs like one more start in Durham. He should be up pretty soon, so that's pretty cool.
He looked pretty good in Durham too.
Yeah, I think his changeup is a pitch that he's developed, during his time off. So again, we need offense. So it's great to have all this pitching, but winning games like 2-1, 2-0, that's not super realistic.
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
with the AL East. The AL East has some of the best offenses in baseball. So
by far.
Getting Margot back would help more, I think, than getting like Patino back, which sucks because like I want both of them, but we need the offense.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with you at all. As much as I love hearing Patino is doing good, and we've been talking about him needing to add another pitch, and he worked on that changeup, and I think it looked really good in Durham. Obviously, that might not translate to the majors, but I think that it will. So I love hearing about it, but you're right. Like our pitching staff is able to handle what they're doing. It's our offense that needs more. What's the right word? Some more oomph.
Right. I mean, Brandon Lau would be that guy, but again, he's still out. Like we at least have like kind of a timeline now, so it's probably going to be like roughly 3 weeks. So he's getting there, but it's really just a hurry up and wait situation here. Just keep your heads above water, play 500, which they've basically been doing. So yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's a perfect segue kind of into this week of the games, And
yeah, definitely.
It started off really nice when we got the sweep of the Pirates, though I will admit.
Yeah, what did you like out of that series there?
I loved McClanahan.
Yeah.
He pitched in the third game of that series, and I believe he had 10 strikeouts. And just everything about our defense and our pitching looked really, really good in that game.
Yeah, they definitely like held it together for a couple games, which is nice. So it's good to see, they have the potential to do that. Couple nice walk-off wins in that series. Isaac Paredes has been phenomenal. He's definitely like in the zone. He's locked in. So yeah, really, really good stuff from that series. Like there's really nothing too crazy there. I like the setup with McClanahan, Adam, and then Rayleigh for like that third game. Like that's probably like the best scenario pitching setup the Rays could ask for, and that's a really good combination. So I hope we get to see that today in game 1 because that's a recipe for success. Actually, we can't see it because Rayleigh's on the
Let's say Rayleigh's not there. If I'm not mistaken, he's one of the ones that wasn't there. So we'll have to see someone else. But I think that we can replace Rayleigh this one game for that.
Yeah, put Guerra in. He's ready.
Yeah, hey, you know what? I'm all for it. But yeah, so that whole series, like you said, Paredes kind of, if I'm not mistaken, he walked us off both times. We had 2 walk-off wins in that.
I thought Harold had one of them. I'm not sure though. It was a while.
It may have been, but I know that Paredes walked us off at least one of them, and if he just continues, that was going to be my other topic this week was just the rise of Isaac Paredes. He is on fire.
Yeah, I mean they essentially like have him just sitting on pitches up and in, so we can pull him and like hit home runs, do damage, which he's been doing. But then he also has like the bat speed to go the other way. And he's got the plate discipline to like wait for a pitch that's in his wheelhouse. So it's a really, really good, setup for him right now. I think pitchers will adjust and kind of figure it out eventually, but he's got the discipline to be able to take his walks. So I think he's going to have some pretty good sustained success, at least for the rest of the season, if not, for years to come. He's got a lot of really good tools, and he's an average defender, which is important. Like you got to be able to field some position, and he can hold down second base and kind of third base too. So
yeah. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he played first base the other day, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he can play a little bit of first. I'd rather have like Yandy there, but I mean he's better than Harold, so
agreed.
Take it.
Well, then after the Pirates series, we go right into one of the rougher series, in my opinion, the Brewers series.
Yeah, that sucked. It was, they were a couple bounces from, getting a couple wins out of that series, but the Brewers are built really similar to the Yankees, where they just hit a ton of home runs. Their bullpen is good enough, outside of Hader, like they've got, some good pieces. The only difference between the Yankees and the Brewers is the Brewers bats just aren't really overperforming that much. So they're struggling a little bit, but they play in the NL Central. They play they play against the Pirates. They play against the Cubs. They play against the Reds a lot. So that's a pretty easy division. Like you really don't have to do too much.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I guess if I had to take anything from it, like anything positive, Willy Adames came back. Obviously, I believe it's his first time back to the Trop since he was traded.
Yeah.
So that was nice to see. He, watching the interviews, he even said it was confusing. Like he didn't know where the away dugout was or the away locker room was.
Right.
So if we had to take anything positive out of that, at least the team that beat us had one of our more favorited players,
Yeah, I mean, they have Brasso as well.
Yeah.
They have Ozzie Timmons, their hitting coach. They got Brad Boxberger. Like
Don't they have Renfroe too?
Yeah, he's hurt right now. But we don't claim him. He's not mine.
No, he already played for the Red Sox. We can't claim him anymore.
Yeah, no, I'm done with him. But really though, the Brewers, they're a good team, but the division they play in makes it really easy for them to be a playoff team. So
yeah, it really does. And I think that everyone was freaking out when they got, like you said, they started signing, felt like everyone that played for the Rays are trading for them. And it was just like, oh, they're trying to do what we do. They got our coach there, or one of our coaches there. And it's like, in reality, they don't have to do what we do to make the playoffs. Like we play in one of the tougher divisions, and they've got it easy.
Yeah, and they also have their GM is a former Rays front office guy, Matt
Yeah.
Arnold. So it's the Rays of the North with the Brewers. I like the style of play though, because it's basically the Rays, but they also look like the Yankees, so I kind of don't like it, but it's fine.
Hey, it seems to be working for them right now, but hopefully it doesn't work for them against us ever again. That's all I care about.
Yeah. Anything else from this series? You
That's all that I had. I think the Toronto series is more important to me.
Yeah. Before the Toronto series, I just want to talk about Shane Baz. He was okay against Milwaukee. He wasn't super sharp. So for all the people that complained about him getting pulled with 5 2/3,
Oh yeah,
like he gave up 10 hard hit balls by himself that game. The Brewers staff as a whole for the whole game gave up 9. He had the second worst stuff grade of his career in that game. The worst was when he was in Minnesota. Um, he just didn't have that great of stuff. So Cash probably knew that. Kyle Snyder probably knew that. So they pulled him. It makes sense. Third time through the order, he gives up an on base percentage close to 400. He was about to face McCutchen for the third time. So it's like the numbers say this is crazy. The current performance, like the context of the game, said it would be crazy to leave him in, given all the
yeah.
hard contact he's giving up. And then he was also on like 93 pitches,
There
which
we
is
go. That's
career
the key
high.
point.
Season high before that was like 78. So
And he's coming off of elbow surgery.
he had elbow surgery 2 months ago. Like it's crazy to suggest that he needs to stay out there. Like it's reckless and it's dangerous. So I'm really glad the Rays coaching staff doesn't think like that.
Yeah, it honestly kind of blew my mind seeing all the fans bash on Cash and the pitching staff for doing that when like it felt like they didn't grasp the concept of he's at a career high in pitches. He just had elbow surgery. It just felt like where in your head does it make sense to leave him in?
Yeah, it's from every angle. It was like really airtight, like the decision. So I mean, unless there's some other crazy stat that we're missing here, like if anybody wants to let me know why Cash did it, it's
Yeah,
tell me, I guess. But there's really like the stats, the context, and the actual like workload. They all say that he probably shouldn't have even started that inning, to be honest. But it was nice for Cash to kind of like let him build confidence, stretch him out a little bit. But other than that, there's really no reason to keep him in. So yeah,
yeah,
that's
I can
pretty much
agree
it
with
though
that.
for the Brewers series for me.
I can agree with that 100%. Well, after the Brewers series, we come in and we've got 2 games so far against the Toronto Blue Jays, who are 2 spots above us in the rankings right now, and they have one game kind of stomped on us in the second. The first game was close. Second game they kind of stomped on us. So we'll just get right into that if you want.
Yeah, offense is really what's killing us here. Like you're not going to win games 2-0, 3-1, 3-2. Like they need to. Well, maybe they could win a game 3-2, but they need more offense. Like they need 3 to 4 runs a game consistently, and if you can't hit that, you're not going to win too many games. The pitching is they're just not using like their best bullpen arms. So of course, the scores might get run up a little bit late in the games, but they're saving the better arms for closer games. So anything that's a blowout, yeah, it's a 6-run loss or whatever yesterday, but they could have made it closer if they thought they had a better chance at winning.
Yeah, I agree, and I think you said it perfect. Our offense is what's killing us. Yesterday, the pitching wasn't great. I believe it was Kluber pitching yesterday. So that one wasn't. It was a weird outing for Kluber. It didn't feel like the Kluber that we've been seeing.
I mean, he was rolling until Kiermaier dropped a fly ball. Like that was, I think, like mentally, it just kind of like that was the moment that did him in, and he took responsibility for that after the game. But it was still pretty crazy that he was able to get to that ball. I think it was like 103 off the bat, like it was going to the wall. So he should have caught it like 100%. That's a play that he always makes, but he didn't make it, and that's what's been happening. So I don't think he'll ever make that same mistake again because he's, not one to do that. But Kluber looked really good for like 3 1/3 innings until that play, and then the wheels just kind of came off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just this whole Toronto is scary, dude. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wasn't as worried about them as I am right now. After watching them, I've watched a few of their games lately, not just against Tampa, and they are so good.
I mean, they've basically been almost completely healthy, I want to say. Like they haven't
Yeah.
had any injuries. Their starters are pretty bad outside of Gosman, but that's like what was expected. Their bullpen's okay. Defense is better because they added Chapman, but like they're playing their best baseball they've played in like maybe 3 years, and they're 2 games ahead of the Rays. The Rays are not playing like themselves, and they're only a couple games back. So they're not that great. Boston's not that great, even though they're ahead of the Rays. It's just like if the Rays get a little healthy or play like a little bit better, they're clearly like ahead of those teams. So yeah, it's still like they have to go out and do that. So it's frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say I don't think the Yankees are that good, but I feel like I've already expected them to kind of fall off, and they haven't been yet. But it's thinking about it in that sense. It's like we are 40-36 as a team, like our overall record, and we're still in fourth.
They're a half game out of a wild card spot.
Yeah,
I think
like
it's they're a lot closer to being the Yankees than they're closer to being the Orioles.
oh yeah, so agreed 100%. No disagreement in that. But it's just to me, it's like how can you not, as an outsider looking in, someone who's not a fan of the Rays or a team in the American League, like how can you not just be amazed at how good this division is?
Yeah, it's easily the best division in baseball. Like it's not really close.
It's wild to me, and it's like a lot of people when the Rays did won 100 games. Oh well, look at the rest of the teams. It's like, what are you talking about?
I mean, the Orioles were a punching bag last year, but this year they're pretty good. Like they're minor league prospects and their pieces are starting to arrive. So now they can hold their own a little bit.
Yeah, it's. I think they're just going to get better, and all the teams are going to continue to kind of stay where they're at, and it's going to be insane in the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting and fun though.
So, we talked about the games, and now we'll get into kind of our bat and our arm of the week, and I will let you go first in the arm because I have an arm already. And I will go first in the bat so that Eureka doesn't accuse me of cheating on this test.
All right. My arm of the week is easily Shane McClanahan. Like nobody else came close to his strikeout rate this week, 40%, no walks, 0.27 FIP. He was good for half a win this week. Just complete domination, and that's what the Rays really need today. So they can at least split the doubleheader. I think they've got a really good chance to sweep. In a bullpen battle like we're going to see today.
Yeah.
Like we're going to see a ton of pitchers from both teams. The Rays match up really well against Toronto, so I like that. But yeah, who was your arm of the week?
So my arm of the week was also Shane McClanahan. I was gonna make a joke and say Brett Phillips because he did go out and pitch one inning. But my arm of the week is Shane McClanahan. Like you said, the strikeout rate was ridiculous. In that one game he threw 10 strikeouts. If I'm not mistaken, he was the first American League or first pitcher in baseball, I believe, to 100 strikeouts this season. And he's, from a graphic I saw, he is in the lead for the American League Cy Young now.
Yeah, I think in like the polling or whatever, he's
it's
a pretty clear front runner.
Him, and then for the National League, it's Sandy Alcantara, which is amazing. They're both Florida guys, so it's good to see that. But yeah, he's by far my arm of the week.
Yeah, and he honestly had like a bit of a down month for him. Like May was better than June for Shane, but like he was still that dominant. So really great to see. The strikeouts are huge for a Cy Young campaign. So
yeah,
he's really he's on his way. If he just like keeps doing at least like half of this kind of performance for the rest of the year, he's a lock.
Yeah, and I that's why I'm so high on him, is I think he's going to keep it up the rest of the way this year. Like I really do.
Yeah, I don't see why not. He's got 4+ pitches. He's got great command of all of them. Just and he's a lefty too, so like that's pretty cool.
He's unstoppable. Um, so I'll go ahead and get into my bat of the week. I was not very impressed with very many bats this week. I am going with Isaac Paredes. He made it happen when we needed him, so that's who I'm going with this week.
Yeah, I went the same route. It was really close between him and Yandy. Like Yandy had a really sneaky good week this week. He was really close in WAR, OPS, WRC plus. Like everything was like just a couple ticks behind Paredes. Choi wasn't too far off either. So it's good to see we had I think 5 above average bats this week. So
yeah,
they really had enough to like win more games, but 3 and 4 isn't terrible. But yeah, Paredes had 2 home runs this week. I know he had that 3-homer game just before this week.
yeah.
He had a 204 WRC plus, a 1057 OPS, and a 0.4 FWAR. Just really great stuff from a guy who I think on the YouTube broadcast the other day they said he was a rookie, but he's not a rookie. So I don't really understand that, but
It's
national
YouTube.
media,
It's YouTube, man.
yeah, they would do the same on an ESPN broadcast or an Apple TV broadcast. Like they don't give the Rays enough respect, but that's fine with me because it's gonna keep and I feel like that fuels their fire a bit. And I think after that game yesterday, I think the team is ready to turn the corner. So I feel good about today.
You know what would make you feel better about today?
I'm not sure.
Well, let me tell you, bud. If you go to shop.rblrsports.com and get some of the most amazingly badass Rays inspired, Tampa Bay sports inspired t-shirts from our shop. We got the Rays, we got the Bucks, we got the Rowdies, we got the Lightning. Guess what? We even have the Bandits. Were they great this year? No. The shirts are great though. So I'm gonna send you over to Ben, give you guys a discount code, and highly recommend y'all go check it out.
Yeah, so head over to shop.rblrsports.com, use promo code FLAPPY, FLAPPY, you get 10% off your order. I think we need some kind of promo code where they would have to pay double their order. I think that would be kind of funny. That might help us make some more money. So we'll come up with that promo code. If you accidentally use it, you got to pay double. Oh, well.
Yep, that's on you, bud.
And you have to actually do the shipping yourself. Like you have to drive to some, warehouse. Yeah, we can use promo code Blame Cash for 200% increase in your payment there. We only take Discover Card and Dogecoin. Those are only 2 accepted payments. So,
but that's only if you use the Blame Cash code.
Yeah, and you got to do it before the starter gets pulled after 73 pitches. So.
All right, Mr. Ben. Well, I mean, that's all that I have. I wanted to get with you, though, and see if you had anything else you wanted to touch on and discuss before we kind of end the show. It was a relatively short show, so now we have some time to just talk baseball, basically.
A couple injury things here. Brandon Lau, he's about 3 weeks away. He's on a schedule now, which is cool. JP Fireeisen, he's doing better. His bone bruise is almost healed. There's no structural damage, so could be back a little bit after the All-Star break. Nick Anderson, same thing, coming back a little bit after the All-Star break. He's throwing live batting practice now. Pete Fairbanks, he's about to start his rehab stuff. He could be back a little bit before the All-Star break. And Shagwa, he's throwing batting practice. He could be back around the All-Star break as well. Again, lots of reinforcements with the pitching. We love it, but Brandon Lau is still the one guy that we really need here. So Margot could be back in October, maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. It hasn't been released as an actual medical update, but I have been seeing videos of Tyler Glasnow throwing off of a mound too.
Yeah, he's been posting on his Instagram. He's throwing a ball. I'm not counting on him coming back this season, but if he does, it's going to be in
In the
second
playoffs,
round
I'd
of the
imagine.
playoffs. I don't even
Yeah.
think he'd be ready for the first round. Second round in a bullpen role, like 1 inning every 4 days.
Bring
But
him in as a
again,
closer.
honestly,
Could you
like that's still
imagine?
like a good. Yeah, I mean, he's gonna give like a good outing no matter what role he's in. So
Exactly.
he could, yeah, he could do it. So that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, so let's was that the optimism was Brandon Lau?
Oh,
Yeah, I need to hear that.
oh yeah. So the Rays' record in 1-run games this season. What do you think it is off the top of your head?
Oh God. I'd say we're over 500. I'd say we're probably over 70 in one run games.
So they're good, but not that good. They're
Uh,
15-14 this season. That's
oh, okay.
that's I was surprised when I saw that because I thought it was going to be a lot worse. Considering the lack of offense and the banged up pitching staff, but 15-14 in 1-run games is really great. That's a sign of a team that could do well in the postseason because you got to win those 1-run games. And that record is with all the injuries they've had, so that's impressive. Another impressive thing here is they're 7-3 in extra inning games, which is pretty cool because those are typically weird and fluky, but they've been able to find ways to win in extras, which is really important.
Yeah.
They had 2 extra innings losses in Baltimore in one series. So other than that, like they've been really good in extra innings. There are a lot of things to be excited about here. 10-3 in interleague play, like they've dominated the National League, and guess who you're going to have to play in the World Series? It's a
A
National League
National
team.
League team, yeah.
So I mean, I
That's
like
where
it.
that's where my 70% came from. I was thinking extra innings, not one run games. That was, silly mistake on my end.
I mean, those are really good records for teams that that have playoff aspirations. So that's what you want to be able to do is stuff like that. They're doing it while they're injured. But again, I've said it for weeks. But the biggest thing is Brandon Lau.
Yeah.
With him, they're 21-14 this season. Without him, they're 19-22. So they're still right around that 500 mark. But getting him back is the single biggest like acquisition difference maker thing that the team could do. Other than maybe getting Mike Trout, but they're not going to go out and get Mike Trout. Like that's not going to happen. So,
Oh God, could you imagine? Oh,
they gotta sneak out of Toronto with a couple wins here. If they can get 2 of 5 in this weird 5-game series, that would be great. 3 of 5 would be even better, obviously. So, just keep playing 500 ball till Lau gets back. I know a lot of people are saying he isn't the savior, but he is. He's the best player on the roster, so they need him back.
see, so God, I don't want to sound negative, right? Here comes pessimistic Zach for a second. I don't think that he's necessarily the savior. I do think he's a big part of it, but I also think that if we are just praying that Wander and Lau are I think Ulysses was talking about it last week. If we're just hoping that Ulysses, good Lord, that Wander and Brandon are the saviors, I think we're going to be kind of disappointed.
How so?
Just because I feel like even when we get them back, does it help the whole lineup? Yes, in a sense, but I feel like there's still going to be people struggling in the lineup. I think that there's a few people that we could replace in the lineup.
Who specifically?
Oh God, you're going to make me say it?
Yeah.
Oh God, I am the biggest Brett Phillips fan in the world, but he's having a downer of a year, man.
Well, I mean, he's not going to play as much now that KK's back. Like he was really kind of thrown into the fire. He's clearly not an everyday player.
Yeah.
So.
And then I guess my other one is it's all depending on Margot. If Margot can come back, then I think we're good. I think Margot is a big piece that, in my opinion, is a not quite as big as Lau or Franco, but I think he's up there as probably a top 3 or 4 person in our lineup.
Yeah, I'd say maybe like Lau is the best, and like Lau is the best hitter. Then probably Wander, and then maybe like Choi third, maybe Randy or Margot like fourth. So, yeah, he's definitely like top 5 for sure.
Yeah. So if he can come back, then I don't think it's as dire. But if he's out for more than the 60-day IL stint, I think that we need someone to play right field.
I mean,
honestly.
he's not coming back until like late September, like maybe early October. Like he doesn't have a tear or anything, but he's got like an ACL sprain or something, so
Yeah.
he's going to be out like most of the season.
Yeah, so well in that instance, then yeah, I think it wouldn't hurt us to have someone that can play outfield with better than a point .8 WAR.
Well, I mean, they have that with KK, with Randy, and then they can platoon Phillips against righties because he can handle righties. He's
He can
fine
hit
there.
righties, yeah.
And then lefties, they can put Brujan or Harold Ramirez out there. Like they can figure it out with platooning. I think that'll work out.
All right, well, I hope so. My fingers are crossed for that.
It's just with Brandon Lau, it's so hard to have somebody that can like provide 5 wins above replacement like on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
And then play like good enough defense.
Yeah, I think I'm not disagreeing that I think Brandon Lau is the best Rays player on this team. On the offensive side, I think Shane McClanahan is the best overall Rays player right now, but I do think that Brandon Lau is the best offensive player on this team. And I truthfully, you guys might hate me for saying it, but I think it's still miles above Wander right now.
I mean, Wander could pass him this season. It's just a matter of will he ever stop swinging at changeups outside of the zone? Like it's
exactly
killing him. He's making really good contact since coming back. Not everything's fallen for a hit, but he'll be fine. He's just not a 40 home run threat every season, and that's where Lau has the edge there. And Lau can take his walks too. So
exactly. So I guess that's my hot take, if you were to call it that, is that even with them, I think we're still going to need a little more help.
Well, the goal is to basically get into the playoffs, and then anything can happen. Like we saw it with the Braves. We saw it even with the Red Sox. Like they weren't that good, and they beat the Rays in a series. So just get to the playoffs. Usually 90 wins is good enough. Right now they're on pace for, I think, 92 wins. So expanded playoffs this year makes it a lot easier. Get to the playoffs. Anything can happen. It's exciting. It's been a fun season so far, ups and downs, but a lot of exciting pieces. Good record in 1-run games, good record in extras. Just need to get Brandon Lau.
All right. Well, that's all that I have for this week. Do you have anything else you want to touch on, go over?
No, just that everybody should follow our social media stuff at RBLR Sports. Like, comment, subscribe, devour, I don't know, something, consume our media.
There we go.
Yeah, that's the word.
Consume. It took a minute to get there, but we got there.
we have content hot, fresh, and ready. We're like the Little Caesars of podcasting. So,
oh God, I think we're better than Little Caesars. We're like Krispy Kreme, hot and ready.
Yeah.
Or what is it? Always when the light's on, whatever. I don't eat Krispy Kreme, but I know they're good.
Yeah, something like that. Perfect.
We're going on a rant here.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Go Rays.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say, he touched on the social media. Wherever you're listening to this, whether it's Apple Music, Spotify, anything like that, just drop a like and a follow on those as well. It kind of keeps us going. Aside from that, I appreciate you guys. You guys are the reason we do it, and go Rays.
Okay, now go Rays.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLR Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.